Welcome to episode 190 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg. Co-host Warren Sklar is off this week, but we have two great guests. Mr. Guy Serle's back on the show. How you doing, Guy?
Hey, doing fine. Wish I could remember half of the stuff I've had and talked about in the past, but I'm an old guy.
Yeah. Well, that's how it goes. But,
Yeah.
also,
or is it?
Also back is Jeff Gamet. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well, and once again, it takes two of us to fill in for Warren.
Well, we always got to have three people here, so that's why.
Okay, there's that.
There's that too. At least I think we should. But anyway, so we got plenty of news to talk about. Some beta that happened this week. Might talk about a few other things. So let's just go jump right in and talk about stuff. First story, we start with the news this week. Apple's iPhone 6 Plus is now officially a vintage product. What a shame. In a move that is probably about the longevity of Apple products, they've now designated the 2014 Apple iPhone 6 Plus as a vintage product, meaning the company will no longer support the nearly 8-year-old iPhone. So this is not something surprising. I think that sounds about right. 6 years. That's I don't think anybody's really surprised that this happened.
Were there like actually Android phones in 2014?
Yeah.
I don't.
There were,
but
none of them are in use and haven't been for several years.
Since 2015.
Since 2015.
Yeah. Okay.
And
they certainly haven't been updated.
And they sure become obsolete within a year. So compared to many of the other iPhones we have out there. But no, not surprised at all that it will just continue on. I'm sure this iPhone 7 will follow suit once the next.
Too much longer.
Not too much further ahead here, and we'll just keep going along here with the iPhone. So, R.I.P. Rest in peace, iPhone 6 Plus. I don't know if we'll miss
it. Still works.
It still works, but
that was like my first big iPhone was the 6 Plus.
Mine too. But it doesn't run on iOS 15, so you're out of luck. And then going along with some obsoleting products, Apple officially obsoletes the first iPad with a Lightning connector. That was the 4th generation iPad.
Wow!
That was November of 2012, so that's 2 years after the first iPad came out. I was surprised it lasted this long. That's 10 years.
Yeah. And in a weird bit of serendipity, the iPad 2 is still for sale.
Are they still selling it? No,
I'm kidding.
No, I was going to say.
No, I was kidding. I thought they were going to sell the iPad 2 until the cows came home. It was like every time I would look on their site, it was like, okay, well, we've got the iPad Pro 16-inch, okay, and the iPad 2. So.
Well, the cows did finally come home.
Yeah, and they were like, "Look, you can't use that iPad anymore."
I own that iPad. I mean, it lasted a long time. They were using.
They sure sold it for a long time.
I think I went as far as iOS 12 maybe before it finally they put it to pasture. With
the cows,
but it's not surprising. Apple continues to obsolete these products. So, and then that's the way it goes. Next story here. The New York Attorney General, got to get the law involved here. We've been talking about this for the last few weeks here. Issues an AirTag consumer alert over stalking concerns. Though Apple last week announced its changes to AirTags like we talked about, that will likely help cut down on unwanted tracking. Officials are starting to take notice of complaints, and New York Attorney General Letitia James today sent out a consumer alert with safety recommendations to protect New Yorkers from AirTags. Got to protect them.
Yeah, and I'm sure someone will find a way to sue Apple in East Texas over this.
Oh.
I have a problem with this.
Yeah, me too.
I probably have several problems that I need to work through related to this.
Please share.
Okay, so one of the problems I have is Apple says, hey, if you find some rando AirTag in your stuff, pull the freaking battery out so no one can track you.
Yeah.
To me, that makes a lot of sense. And so New York Attorney General is saying, leave the tracker in because we don't, or leave the battery in because we don't want to risk screwing up any potential evidence. Okay, the potential evidence that I could see would be a fingerprint, and fingerprint evidence. I mean, it gets used a lot, not as much as it used to, but fingerprint evidence, it's bunk science. Just like blood splatter for crime scenes, total bunk science. And so why not just take the battery out, like Apple suggests, and protect yourself? Here's one of the other problems I have. A lot of the advice that law enforcement gives people can be summed up as just be the victim and we'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
And while, I mean, there's situations where complying with whatever the criminal is demanding is an appropriate thing to do.
Well, when they're right in front of you, yes.
Yeah. They pull a gun on you. Hand me your wallet.
Yeah.
Okay, you hand them your wallet.
Exactly.
But something like this, where you can take an immediate action to protect yourself. Okay, yes, of course you're going to call the police.
Right.
And but still, I would take the battery out so that I can no longer be tracked. And one of the other things they said was, yeah, but if you take the battery out, now the bad guy knows that you know about the tracker. I don't care if they know about the tracker. They're not frickin' tracking me anymore.
Yep.
Right, because they can't.
Or put it on a Greyhound bus headed for Duluth.
There you go.
Yep.
Tape it to a police car. Actually, I like that idea.
Yeah, I kind of did too. As soon as you said it, it was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah. So then the other thing is, why are they not issuing alerts like this about tile trackers? Because you can be tracked through the ubiquitous Echo supply that's out there. And I had totally forgotten. Tile has a partnership with Comcast Xfinity. So all those people out there that are using a Comcast Xfinity wireless modem, that is being used to track tile location too. So thinking that a tile is not as trackable as an AirTag, to me, seems wrong. And you also have so many more tiles out there than AirTags that people should have been flipping out about tile a long time ago, but it's not sexy and exciting like flipping out over Apple when they're in the same position.
Yeah, and we'll see
Apple
what
actually
happens
did stuff to protect people. Tile has done nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's enough soapboxing for me.
No, but you're right about Tile. I mean, it just no one ever talks about it, but because it's Apple, they're talking about AirTag. I mean,
well, also remember, Apple has really deep pockets, and depending on the severity of a potential lawsuit, they may just say, "Okay, here's some money, go away." Whereas Tile might be like, "We can't give you that money. We need that money."
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Tile is doing at least well enough to have been in business selling personal trackers long before Apple did. I mean, Tile's been doing this for 8 years?
At least.
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, at least. I mean, it's crazy. I just okay. It just didn't make any sense. So, but anyway, next story here is right up your alley here, Jeff. Is Apple is saying that spatial audio is a hit, drawing more listeners to Apple Music. Apple Music executives say there's more than half of the subscribers are listening in spatial audio. And of course, they announced that feature of Apple Music back in June of 2021. And after this announcement that WWDC was bringing a more immersed sound to the service, and now Apple executives have been sharing selected statistics and talking about how spatial audio is being appreciated by listeners. According to Billboard, Apple says that record labels which remaster in spatial audio are seeing large increases in the number of listens. That's a good thing. And it goes
way over here and way over there.
Yeah, that's good. And then go through some other things here. What do you think, Jeff? This is exciting. I think spatial audio is a really good thing.
Spatial audio is cool, and I'm not surprised that this is the thing that's drawing more people into the Apple Music fold, because I mean, it does sound cool. The thing that I'm more excited about is high res audio, but a lot of people are missing out on high res audio because maybe their hearing isn't as good. They don't have headphones or a speaker system that supports high res audio. But it's like anyone can go out and pick up AirPods Pro, and now the new AirPods, they do spatial as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
AirPods Pro.
So for $179, you can get spatial audio AirPods, and that's really cool. So yeah, anything we can do to make music more enjoyable for listeners, great, let's do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they got to make up for having crappy MP3 compressed audio, so make up for it by moving the sounds around so that it sounds a little bit different.
Yes, for crappy MP3. Apple's not doing any MP3.
Well, but compressed music in general. And again, I am not an audiophile because I went to so many rock concerts in the 70s that my hearing is for crap now anyway. So I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But I know that a lot of people who, claim to be audiophiles talk about how, they can tell the difference between an MP4, MP3 file and an AIFF file, which it's like, okay, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, good for them. I'm sure that some people can, and a lot of that depends on the equipment you're playing on. And of course, some MP3s are so easy to pick out because they're so horribly compressed.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, doing things that make the audio better, great. But that's why I'm more excited about high res audio than I am about spatial audio, even though spatial audio is cool.
Yeah, so check it out if you haven't already. It's pretty awesome, I must say. Next story here is interesting. iOS 15.4, which is we'll talk in a bit here, could let you download software updates over 4G. Apple was never keen of offering software updates via cellular networks, and Wi-Fi was the way to go until the launch of the iPhone 12 in 2020. Currently, you can download iOS software updates on your iPhone 12 and iOS and iPhone 13 via 5G networks. Now, the third beta of 15.4 is reportedly that's going to be allowed to be updated over your 4G LTE networks. So far, Apple has only allowed downloads over 5G, but that could change. It's very possible. It's beta. So, of course, you have control whether or not you want to download anything over cellular. It'll warn you, say, use cellular data or do not use cellular data. I don't know if I've ever remembered me ever updating my iPhone over cellular. Even though I have unlimited data, why? Don't you think?
Why?
Because it's going to take regardless of whether it's 4G or 5G or whatever, it's just going to take a lot longer than it will over a cellular network. And I can't think of any update in recent years that was so critical that it had to be done right now, or that there was some feature set that had to be done right now, or you were going to, miss out on the next Mars landing or something. Just wait till you get home and you got a nice stable Wi-Fi signal, and it'll be done a lot faster, and then you're back up and running again. Why screw around with it?
Yeah. And if you really, really can't wait till you get home, pull up in front of Starbucks or an Apple store and just use their Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Why? Like I said, why?
Why?
I have a hypothesis on that.
All right.
which there's a flaw in it. And the hypothesis is that that there are people that live in areas where they cannot get a reliable broadband connection. Therefore, the cellular connection is their only option. And so give them the ability to download over 5G or 4G, and now you've overcome that problem. Here's the flaw. If you live in an area where you can't get reliable broadband, there's a very high likelihood you're not going to be able to get good 4G or 5G either. Signal.
True. Well, I know that during the Super Bowl, there was commercials for, I think it's Verizon, and I think maybe AT&T as well, are now selling 5G modems for the home so that you can get
T-Mobile
broadband internet over 5G for your house, including television and all the rest of that. And it's like I don't know if 5G is, especially data compromised 5G, is the way to go for somebody that lives in a house that you can just go ahead and get a wired signal in. And I know we're all still kind of waiting for what's going to happen with Musk's Starlink, and whether that's going to be the rural, God, I can't even say the word, rural savior for high-speed internet for, people that live in the mountains or farms or, away from the general population. I haven't seen any confirmed upload and download speeds yet.
Mm-hmm. The Starlink upload and download speeds are good initially, or were good initially, and they're good in some areas. The problem is once you start getting more people, that Starlink just really can't hold up. Now, the idea of a 5G modem to replace my cable modem, on one hand, that's appealing because I have a grand total of one broadband provider option where I am.
That would open it way up.
And if AT&T or Verizon or some other company can offer me a solid broadband over 5G for my home, that could be a compelling option. But at least it would give me some bargaining room with Xfinity. Yeah,
and I've been using Xfinity for a long time. I've got the gig speed internet, so it's been okay. I did try out T-Mobile's when they offered it. It was actually 4G LTE, and I wasn't too excited about it because I think it was like 25 megabit speeds, which is okay. That's okay. But why would I want to do that when I can get Xfinity and get at least 500 megabit or I got one gig. So what's the point? But I'm glad you guys brought that up because I just put the new article here in the show notes here about T-Mobile's now making it easier for you to get their 5G home internet service. And they're really rolling on this. I mean, as far as getting this going and gaining more and more customers, because people are just getting tired of, like you said, Comcast Xfinity is just charging the heck out of their services. And why not? If you're going to get consistent speeds with 5G on a home internet service and you can get it, and 5G is good in your area, depending on where you live, why not? I mean, I think why not? Why T-Mobile isn't going to take advantage of jumping on this? And they're expanding their network. They're expanding it further than Verizon is.
And remember as well that a lot of communities still have 70s and 80s technology as far as providing cable and broadband services. And so you're going to be bandwidth limited for a lot of those services as well. So if you can get not only, kind of break the monopoly of some of these one horse providers in, the various areas around the country, you bring in T-Mobile or AT&T or Sprint or whoever that's going to offer 25 to 50 up and down, which quite honestly is not bad for the vast majority of people that are out there. It's going to provide more than enough bandwidth. So, will they have a similar problem if it develops traction in an area that something like Starlink does, where, regardless, you're still bandwidth limited to what's available across the air as compared to cable, which is going to have, much bigger pipes. But, that's a problem for future guy. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, T-Mobile is going to continue to push this, and I'm sure the other carriers are going to as well. I mean, the spectrums have opened up, and I'm just doing a test right now on 5G. Sitting here at home on my iPhone right now, I'm getting 250 megabit speeds with 5G. Yeah. So I mean, how do you beat that? The home internet, they may cap it more. I don't know. It's hard to say. And I know, and you're also dealing with Xfinity with bandwidth caps too. You get 1.2 terabytes of data per month.
I'm using Verizon Fios,
right?
And
which is big out by you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's huge. And I'm getting gigabit speed, and they're charging me. It's like $60 a month, which is, that's not bad. But if I could pay half of that and get 250 to 300, even doing, Zoom calls and video podcasts and all the rest of that,
right?
250 to 300 is more than enough bandwidth. I don't necessarily need gigabit speeds. It's one of those things where it's like, well, for another $10 a month, we'll give you gigabit speeds. And I was like, yeah, give me the speeds, baby. $10 a month.
Yeah. I'm paying a pretty good amount for it, but I think it's worth it. I mean, I think having the bandwidth here, I got. I mean, even on Wi-Fi, you're not going to get full gigabit speeds anyway. I mean, it's I'm
wired. I'm wired down here to the man cave. So
yeah, I'm wired on this machine too that we're doing this podcast on. So
how funny, people like us with what we do a wired connection.
Well, I mean, it's the best. I mean, it's the best connection. So I mean, it's going to give you the
most reliable,
and you're going to get the gig speed you want because I've tested it, and
I wish I could get gig internet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that
our lines are tacked up on poles and strung to the
same here.
It's
what are you looking at right now, Jeff? Speed wise,
I have 120 down and 5 up for $85 a month, and
only 5 up because your signal looks great. Your signal is kicking.
Yeah. Well,
as the kids say these days.
I know, it's seriously 5 up. That's all I've got.
That's crazy.
And to get that, I had to take one of the television packages,
right?
Like one of the crap packages that has stuff you don't want to watch anyhow.
Exactly.
And I have no interest in having the package. So, no kidding. In the closet behind me, there is an unopened box that was shipped to me with the TV box.
Mm-hmm.
And when it showed up, I called and asked, can I just drop this off at my local Comcast office? Because I will literally never open this package. And they said, no, you have to keep that box. So, it's in the back of the closet.
And surprising they don't charge you for the box too.
And I don't get charged for the box, but and I don't get charged for my cable modem because I bought my own several years ago.
I have my own now. I'll never let them pay the rent. So, but anyway, that's
every time that you want to watch Univision, the Uzbekistan version, it's there for you though.
It is.
That's true.
Yeah, Spanish programming in Eastern European languages. I mean, you can't get better quality entertainment than that.
You just can't.
I should really plug in that box. I am missing out. I am so missing out.
You should. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Last story here. This is talking about Apple support. The Apple Support app was just updated. That now actually shows estimated repair costs. Apple has updated the Apple Support app, and it's got new price estimates. Feature that shows users the estimated costs for common device repairs such as broken screens, battery services, allowing users to gauge the cost of a repair prior to visiting the Apple Store or an Apple authorized service provider. So you can actually go in the app and you tap repairs and physical damage. There's a button there, and it'll present you a list of common damages. Cracked screens,
Repairs.
liquid damage.
I'm looking right now. I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. So this is
battery service.
So this is great. Apple's finally, because that's the first thing people are going to ask. And how much
is this going to cost?
When I had a 10s Max that had a cracked screen, I wanted to keep it at the time, and ended up trading it in. But they want $350 for a freaking screen for an 10s Max. I mean, that's crazy. You could buy a new iPhone for that. So I go to a non-Apple one was iFixit places, and it was $176. So I mean, but of course, the same thing happened like when you have the illegal parts where it says your Face ID isn't going to work anymore because it's not a.
Did it stop working?
It did.
So I just did the battery health on my iPhone in the support app. iPhone 12 Pro, less than a year old.
Yeah.
88% battery capacity.
That's crazy.
What the hell? I should not be down to 88% battery capacity with an iPhone that's less than a year old.
I'm 100% still.
Wow.
On my OS for 13 Pro Max scores. That doesn't make sense. Why would it be that low already? Crazy.
No, it shouldn't.
So beware of that. It's a great way to check, see what things will cost if you happen to have to get your device fixed. Let's go ahead and move on to the topics. This week, Apple has seeded iOS 15.4 and iPad OS 15.4. This is beta 3. Of course, that's including the mass support and universal control and some other fun things. Universal control, I think, is going to be a bit of a game changer once that does come out. We've talked about it a number of times here, and I think that is going to be something that we're going to go on and take a look at here. So, Jeff, you're on. You do your iPads, right? As your beta devices.
Yes. So, I am not running the macOS beta.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't been able to play with universal control yet, but I am champing at the bit to do so. That's the game changer feature for me. It
really is. I mean, even though they have the sidecar feature, it's nowhere near what universal control is going to do. As far as giving your iPad, another way of doing it. So it's just
well, not just iPads, but multiple Macs as well.
Yeah. Yeah, That's true. So, of course, they also was talking a bit about the Face ID with mask support, so you don't have to have an Apple Watch. We all have Apple Watches, so that doesn't affect us. But now it's going to allow you to be able to unlock your iPhone with a mask on. But we were talking about this pre-show. It looks like masks will probably be disappearing soon anyway. So maybe it's too little, too late, huh?
We'll see about that.
We'll see how that goes. Like I said, there's some exciting features that are coming. Of course, it's always important to know that they have over 100 new emojis. That you gotta look at those. It's just one cool thing I know that they noted was iCloud keychain. I'm going to talk about iCloud here in just a minute. Here, the keychain now you can actually put notes in the keychain, kind of like what you can do with like 1Password or LastPass. Yeah. So now it does give you an entry, allows you to put notes and say, okay, what's this and why do I do this? I thought that was really cool. And we've talked about we'll talk about iCloud here in a little bit here as far as some of the new features. They're adding some cool things
useful
here.
Features.
This one I didn't know.
Nice.
This one I didn't know. Here is there's an improved magnifier for the camera picker. With the camera control that's added in the magnifier, it's amazing where the magnifier app is come, how far it's come. When it was buried deep in accessibility, where you had to find it, now it's like the most common thing.
Front and center.
Yeah, it's the most common thing you have now.
Well, it turns out honestly, it's a really useful feature.
It really is. It really is. I mean, especially us old guys.
There's a lot of people. I was going to say there's a lot of. I don't want to say senior citizens, but there are a lot of older people who like to use their iPhones, and if they want to see what the sodium content is on a can of soup, well, now they can, and they won't have to sit there and squint. Not that I have any personal.
What if you just want to see the serial number on some electronic device where it was printed with like some miniature laser? I mean,
freaking laser.
It doesn't matter how good your eyes are. You still need the magnifier just to read that number.
I think my soup analogy stands.
Your soup analogy totally stands. And we should all be watching our sodium intake.
Yes, we should.
You should. Then, as we said, iOS and iPadOS came out. They also have third beta for WatchOS 8.5, which generally isn't too terribly exciting. Oh, yeah, we get some emojis. Like, I want to add more emojis to my watch, right? I'm too terribly excited about that. tvOS actually had something we've talked, and I think that's the third beta is out for that. They're adding support for captive Wi-Fi networks, which means you can use your iPhone, your iPad as to connect your Apple TV to networks that require additional sign-in steps, such as being in a hotel room.
Is Universal Control going to be part of that as well in tvOS, or have they said?
No, they haven't said anything about that.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is actually the most they've ever talked about as far as we finding out any new features in tvOS. I mean, usually I mentioned tvOS. What's new? Bug fixes. So, and then they also have the feature called Up Next Queue, which is directly in the video player to make you makes it easier for you to get from show to show when you're watching TV. I can't wait for that. That's going to be super stoked. And they also brought in a new volume button that's accessible from the video player. Tap to navigate. Has also returned as an accessibility option. Spatial audio controls have also been redesigned. So they're still continuing on evolving with tvOS. That's good to hear. And people will continue to complain that they can't that they have to buy an Apple TV and it's too expensive.
Well, people always find something to complain about.
Yes,
including the sodium content in their soup.
That is
damn
true.
Right.
That is true.
That's awful.
And that was a good interesting topic to talk about. TestFlight. Have any of you guys used TestFlight before? And you ever tried an app before you actually before it actually hit the App Store? Jeff, have you ever done that?
Yes, I've done it with many apps.
Yeah, and what was the experience? Was it something that do you think people might like to do?
It's the way it's set up. It's really simple. It's basically you get a code and it goes into the TestFlight app,
right? And
then that just links everything up. Excuse me. And now you have a nice list of all the apps that you're beta testing, and when you get updates for those apps, I mean, you're going back to the TestFlight app to find them as opposed to just the regular App Store app.
Mm-hmm.
And
does it sandbox them in some way?
Well, they're sandboxed in the sense they're sandboxed from the regular or from the public part of the App Store. As far as sandboxing them in the operating system, no.
Okay. I guess it wouldn't make much sense for them to do that.
Yeah. There's no additional sandboxing that happens on the user end. But you can tell all of your TestFlight apps that have had updates, because you know how you get the little blue dot by the app name? You get this kind of orange brownish dot instead. So you have that nice little visual indicator.
Yeah.
And
what does that mean?
I mean, obviously, I know, Jeff, you worked for a software company at one point, and you probably were helping them test things at some one point or another. But we have a good article here in the show notes for this from Gadget Hacks that actually there's some pretty intense lists of stuff you could get access to, including someone creates a Google Sheets that has links to all these different apps that you can that you can join these the TestFlight betas.
Okay, that's great. But at the same time, unless you are actually going to actively participate in the testing and reporting process, don't go get the betas.
Yeah.
Leave those for people that are actually going to be using them in the way they're supposed to be used, which is as a test app where you are reporting back to the developer with whatever it is that they need.
Now, how would you
get it just because you want to have early access?
So how would you get invited to these if you didn't go for these? Yeah, because there's obviously Twitter accounts and other ways of just playing around because you wanted to. But how would you get invited?
You could reach out to the developer and tell them, "Hey, I'd like to be in your beta test program."
Okay.
And actually, just for the average user, not someone that's in a position that we are, where developers may actually reach out and say, "Hey, would you please participate?" Reach out to the developers that are making the apps where you feel like you'd be able to contribute something by beta testing, and let them know you want to be part of their program. And then they probably have a system in place already where it's really easy to add you in, and then away you go.
Okay. And Guy, have you ever dabbled in TestFlight at all?
No, for the most part, if it's an application that's going to go on a single device that I have no other backup for it, I'm just not going to take the chance. I don't want to make the phone that I rely on every single day unstable. The only device that I actually consider running betas and stuff like that is my iPad Pro, just because if it goes down, it's kind of like, okay, well, at least it's not my phone. It's one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So check it out, but buyer beware. Just like we talk about putting beta on any of your production devices, don't do it.
Yeah, beta doesn't belong on production devices. Mission critical devices, no beta.
Don't do it.
That's why my iPhone does not have beta iOS versions.
Well, except for Warren.
Well, Warren is
he lives on the edge.
He's our friend that is happy to rush in where angels fear to tread.
That's true.
So hooray for Warren.
Yeah. Yay, Warren. All right. Let's next topic. I want to talk a little bit about iCloud Plus and what Apple has done, and just kind of like I wanted to talk a little bit about what you can do with iCloud and what it offers. I mean, a lot of people don't really think about what it offers, but there's just so much. There's so much that that can be with iCloud, and I wanted to kind of go over this. But my earphones went here a little crazy here. Guy, what is probably the first thing you probably use iCloud with?
iCloud, because I've got the 200 megabyte iCloud storage.
Wow, megabytes! That's great.
Yeah, sorry, gigabytes.
Like
I could resist.
Guy has the really big files, like 12K,
1K. Yeah.
It needs more than 64K.
I couldn't resist.
Good question.
And of course, photos and a few other things like that. I use a lot of, or I have a lot of documents and pages. Some of the books that I need to get back to writing live in pages, so that I can basically go and start to not type in them as I've done for the last year or so on multiple devices all at the same time. So whether it's my iPad or my Mac Mini or even my Windows computer at work, at lunchtime, I can just sign into iCloud and start banging away at whatever it is I want to bang away at. So iCloud for me works really well in that regard. My wife is actually having, because I just got her an SE2 because she wanted the home button. That's the last phone that Apple has that uses the home button.
Yeah.
And she's having problems with her email account. And as it turns out, she was having the same problem before I got her the new phone, and she just hadn't said anything to me about it. So I was like, well, it's all backed up via iCloud. And she's like, well, yeah, but it doesn't really work that well on my Mac either. It's like, no. So I need to like turn off iCloud on her phone, wipe her accounts off the phone, fix them on the Mac, turn on iCloud on the Mac, and then turn on iCloud back on the phone so that everything will sync back and forth again.
Gets messy.
But she has the free version of iCloud. So she's filled that up with photos of guinea pigs. So, we're kind of stuck. We have 4 guinea pigs now. We didn't intend to have 4 guinea pigs. We had 3. And then one of them had a baby guinea pig that we weren't expecting. So now we have 4, and we're going to have to get a bigger cage. So I'm like, yay. Yeah. But it makes her happy. Yeah, surprise. But it makes her happy. We just found out it's a girl, so we don't have to isolate it and give it away to somebody else so that we don't have 5, 6, or 7 or 8 more guinea pigs.
Yeah, they're like tribbles in that sense.
They kind of are. They're kind of born pregnant, so you really got to be careful with tribbles and guinea pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and they don't, and neither of them like Klingons. That's an important safety tip.
That checks out. There.
Yeah, that checks.
Yeah, that does check out. So I have to figure out what she's going to do with her iCloud account. I have tried to sign her and my 2 sons onto my Apple Plus account, which gives her access to all kinds of stuff. And I send out the notification and I don't get anything back. So after the first couple times and then reminding them that it was there, and I just get this like, oh yeah, gee, thanks, Dad. It's like, okay, it's good enough. I've done all that I can do. You are now on your own. So
you're talking about some of the services that what iCloud includes. There'll be photos, of course. Your iCloud photos are probably the most demanding feature that everybody wants. Files app. The Files app is pretty awesome. Gives you all that stuff. It stores all your personal data. I mean, and it's secure. We've talked about this before with security. You worry about security, but whenever you want to restore a device and you want to be able to get your iMessages back, it's nice that in iCloud it backs it up.
Yep.
And then 2-factor authentication, very important that you have that enabled on your iCloud account. I think anybody who doesn't have that enabled is crazy. And I think if you even get new Apple ID accounts now, you have to have it enabled. I don't think Apple even allows it to be.
I believe you're correct.
Anymore. I mean, I have a couple of dummy accounts I use that it isn't on, and it keeps nagging you to do it, but I think you can still skip it. But anything new, nope, you got to do it. And you just talked about family sharing is
Yep.
You can share up to 5 family members. I'm doing that now. I've got all of my wife's families now on our family sharing plan as far as the Apple One bundle. So, like you said, your wife's missing out because you get access to all those services. Do you
passwords too?
Do you do any family sharing, Jeff, with yours or with
no,
you're on your own?
No family sharing.
Yeah.
Everyone just has their own account, and all the accounts, we had everything set up before family sharing was a thing, and so when family sharing became an option, it just didn't make sense because everyone already had individual accounts, and like merging together to later break back apart just didn't make sense.
Didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And iCloud is closely tied with Apple Music, but if you're not an Apple Music subscriber, it does also still integrate as part of the iTunes part of the Apple Music app, because some people don't have Apple Music and they may have their own music that will do that. And of course, the iOS backups is part of that as well, backing up your iOS device, which is very important that you're running.
That's worth the cost for me right there.
Right there?
Yep.
Like seriously, this is the cheapest data backup plan for iOS ever.
Absolutely.
Yep. You lose, break, destroy, falls into a volcano, what have you. Get a new iPhone, sign into your account, and then probably
everything
a
just
few
starts
hours
showing up.
Yeah.
So
like magic.
Of course, that includes the Find My service, which is super important, I think. I mean, you want to be able to find your devices.
Talk about tracking.
Yeah. Look at that. I'd rather be tracked. I know where it is. A lot of times, like I said, I say, hey, where's my iPad? And it's not here. And then I go, look, I left it at the office. So I know it's there because it told me it's in my office. Which is important. And then access everywhere. I mean, it does give you access pretty much everywhere on the iCloud.com website and giving you all kinds of that kind of stuff. So it is important. What iCloud is not better than backups. Yes, it does do the backups that you have. But it's considered a sync service. It's really not a backup. If you're backing up your Mac, you'll back up some of the settings in iCloud, but use Time Machine on your Mac. On iOS, if you don't, iOS, it does do pretty much the backup for you from what you need, but there are third-party options like iMazing we always talk about. I think iMazing is a great alternate option. You also can plug it into your Mac if you want to and use the Finder, which I keep forgetting that's changed over the years because it was always in iTunes before. That gives you the option of being able to back up your device manually as a backup on your Mac or an external drive. So that's another option. So think of it that way. It is a sync service. Unless you guys have any other comments about that, or do you
iCloud backup for iOS is actually a backup,
right?
But the problem here is that this kind of muddies stuff for people that don't understand the difference between backup and sync,
right.
Because it's also doing sync services for your iOS device at the same time. So, it's important to know what you actually have happening. So yeah, you can have a data backup on iCloud for your iOS device. But if you want to have like a full image backup, right, then that's the thing you're doing locally. So I'm actually using iCloud backup for my iOS devices and iMazing because I don't believe in trusting a single backup.
Exactly. I agree. So, a lot of the other services are out there that they've added. It just gives you some great options and the services alone is worth the weight in gold. And I agree. At the very minimum, pay for iCloud, please. 5 gigabytes isn't going to cut it, and it's annoying enough to the fact that Apple, as big of a company as Apple is, that come on, guys, can't you at least offer maybe 10 gigabytes, something a little bigger than 5?
That would be nice, but yeah,
but it should be higher than that.
Yeah, or 20 or.
What it should be, if they're going to leave it at the 5 gigabyte thing, it should be per device,
right?
And I mean, still that's a little tight, I think, but it would be much more reasonable at that point. And then I do know a lot of people that they just like, well, I don't want to pay more money. I can appreciate that, but if you're using it just to get a data backup for an iOS device, get the what is it, $2, $3 a month plan?
Yeah, it's $3 for the 200 gigabytes. I mean,
and then that is you can't get a cheaper backup for your iPhone.
No, and you can share that plan too, as Guy attempted to do.
Yeah, I tried.
And with me being on the Apple One bundle,
some people can share it. Guy can't.
Yeah.
No. Well, true. I could, but I can't, so I won't.
And with me being on the Apple One, the Premier bundle, we get 2 terabytes, and I'm sharing that with seven people.
That's what I'm on too. And the same thing and that includes Apple TV.
Right. So you get the whole package. So, and then. This year, as we talked about before, they came out with a couple things added to that. The private, you can you do your privacy for the internet and private relay for private relay, and then you can host your own domain if you want. That gets a little tricky. I don't know if you guys. I tried
to get that to work.
I did get it to work. I got a domain. It's on but I think they're going to be with future versions of iOS. They're going to allow actually you to be able to actually set it up as a mail account, because it has to kind of go within your iCloud mail, and you can click the down arrow and choose the email you want it to use as it's a reply to with your domain.
Well, Jeff, do you have an Apple Plus account?
I do.
Do you think more people would jump on that if it included, if Apple became almost like an ISP where they were offering domain services and hosting and all the rest of that especially for podcasters? That would be crazy. That would be fantastic.
I think that there would be a significant enough number of people that would love that Apple would make money doing that. Yeah.
No,
it just kind of fits right in with services.
Yeah. And I mean, if you already have your whole account set up, your Apple Plus account, why not give us the type of interface that Apple is known for, something that's super easy to work with for getting a domain and then setting up hosting or email or both.
Right.
Maybe bring back something similar to iWeb that wasn't so clunky.
Yeah. I miss iWeb.
Yeah, it was fun.
I actually did a 6-part series just before iWeb died on how to make an iWeb account or an iWeb web page that didn't look like iWeb.
Because everybody's site looked the same.
Yeah, they really, really did. And I actually had purchased the Mac Parrot domain and made this, just a horrible, horrible looking site that had like the letters where it said Mac Parrot. It was kind of like in flashing lights and all this stuff.
You went GeoCities.
You read my mind.
I purposely made it look horrendous. But it was all just to see how far I could push iWeb and have a template for other pages that I wanted that would use this same garish look and still allow me to use the iWeb framework to have multiple pages, multiple photo pages and all the rest of that, still all within iWeb, but they wouldn't look like iWeb pages.
Right.
And then after I got done, I let the domain just kind of go because I was thinking I was never going to use it again.
It's gone
until I wanted to use it again, and then somebody had snapped it up, and GoDaddy keeps telling me, well, they'll negotiate on my behalf to to get this. It's like, you know what? I'm just not interested in spending.
Domain squatters. Oh.
Yeah, well, and that's what it is. Somebody bought it thinking that either I or somebody in the future would go ahead and take it, and it only cost them 99 cents a year or something like that to sit on it. And it's like, but I'm not going to pay somebody hundreds of dollars or even more than that to get
$20 of dollars.
Well, if it was $20, I wouldn't care. It'd be like, okay, here.
But
it's not going to be. It's not going to be that. And GoDaddy is saying that it's only $75 for us to negotiate on your. It's like no. I got VertShark. That's good enough.
It's not worth it. So.
Yeah.
But hey,
and VertShark is quirky enough for me.
Like you. All right. So that was some of the things I wanted to talk about with iCloud. Remaining time we got left here, I wanted to talk about a few tips here this week. How to reset your network settings on the iPhone. People tend to always forget how to do that. Of course, a lot of times you're dealing with internet problems or you have network problems on your iPhone, and it's something that people forget how to do a lot of times. And the way you do it is you actually go into the settings and you go under General, and then you go down to, and then they've really changed it now because in iOS 15 you go down to where it says Transfer or Reset iPhone, and you go then pick reset. It gets scary when that menu comes up. They've really scared people now to go in here.
Are you really sure you want to do this? And the guy that you see in the pictures, his eyes are really big. Oh my God.
Yeah. So You have reset all settings if you want to reset all the settings. You have the reset network settings. I've done that quite a few times. I don't know if you guys have, but there's times that you just got to clear the gook out. So you've connected to so many networks, and it just doesn't seem to do that anymore. So that's the place you go. You click reset network settings, and then what it does is it clears out any networks that you've connected to in the past, and it just gives you a clean slate. Very easy way to do that. So again, you go under the settings, you go under general, and you scroll all the way down until where it says transfer or reset iPhone in the case of iPhone, because you have an option there where it says prepare for new iPhone, and makes it even easier to transfer or get rid of it and clear it out, or just tap the reset settings and don't tap the thing below it. It says erase all content and settings, and of course.
That would be a bad thing.
You'd be unhappy.
If that would be bad.
If you happen to do that. So, not recommending. With that, I thought that was one tip we have, and we're going to wrap things up a little early here too. So let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week, and we'll just go from there here. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate your support. It's also on our website. Please you make sure you like, share, subscribe to our YouTube page. It'll notify you when we live stream. And on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/DaveG65. You can also watch past shows there. You can also visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discussed are flipped onto that magazine. And the link is in the show notes. Anything we talk about will generally be there. So check that out. You can also subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. And Guy Serle, thank you so much for being here this week. Always have a blast having you on the show, and tell everybody where you can find you.
Well, one of these days I'll actually remember being on here. It's difficult. You can find me every week. I probably do a podcast with a man named Gazmaz, the MyMac.com podcast. We are 2 shows away, not one, but 2 shows away from our 600th show, which will be show 885. If you don't understand it, don't worry. Neither do I. You can also find me over on Twitter. It is. It's really complicated. You can find me over on Twitter. I am Mac Parrot and/or VertShark over there on the Twitters. VertShark.com is where you can find all of the odds and the vids, and you can find the vids over on YouTube on my channel, which is VertShark. If you go to YouTube and type in VertShark, it'll turn up right there. And then, of course, like, share, subscribe. Do all those things.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Guy. And Jeff, Gamet, thanks as always for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, thanks for inviting me back. And like Guy, I try really hard to remember when he's here too.
It's like, damn it! I thought I had avoided him, but no, there he is.
No, I love you, Guy. Okay, so you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Jay Gamet on both. YouTube.com/JGamet for my videos. Thursdays on the Big Show, Fridays on the Mac Show, most Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live. Actually, I have more info for you. So Mac Observer got sold.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And so Dave Hamilton, he took Mac Geek Gab with him. Well, Brian Chaffin and I have taken Apple Context Machine, and so we have a new episode coming out very soon. We just finished recording it.
Awesome.
And the show is now the Context Machine.
Nice.
So you'll be able to put up with Brian Chaffin and me talking about tech stuff on I'm assuming a weekly basis again.
But not pants.
Pants always optional.
All right. Well, that's exciting. You heard that first here. We'll have to go check that out. But appreciate you being here, Jeff. And thanks, as always, to everybody out there listening. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk again soon.